Hello friend, so glad you're here tonight. Get comfortable, pull the covers up, and let the day loosen its grip. There's nowhere else you need to be. Before we begin, a small request. Most of the people listening tonight aren't subscribed. If this channel has ever helped you drift off, take a moment to subscribe and tap the like button on tonight's video. Both are free, they take 2 seconds, and they help this channel more than you'd think. And you can always change your mind later. And if you feel like it, leave a comment telling me where in the world you're listening from and what time it is where you are. I love reading them. On a quiet Christmas Eve night in 1914, an extraordinary event unfolded on the Western Front of World War I. In the midst of one of humanity's darkest hours, an unofficial truce was declared between German and British soldiers. This event, now known as the Christmas Truce, would become a powerful symbol of hope amidst the brutality of war. The truce began with spontaneous caroling by German troops. Their voices carried across the frozen battlefield, singing Stille Nacht, or Silent Night. This traditional Christmas hymn was a poignant reminder of home and peace. Intrigued and touched, British soldiers responded in kind, joining the Germans in song. The sound of carols filled the air, transforming the battlefield into a temporary sanctuary where enemies became brothers. Soldiers from both sides ventured out into no man's land, an unclaimed stretch of land between the trenches. They exchanged gifts, cigarettes, chocolates, and even small trinkets, and shared stories of home. The Christmas Truce was more than just a ceasefire, it was a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity. In the face of war's harsh realities, these soldiers found common ground and shared a moment of unity. This brief respite from combat would not last forever. As dawn broke on Christmas Day, the truce began to dissipate. Both sides retreated back to their trenches, and the war continued its devastating course. Yet, the Christmas Truce of 1914 serves as an enduring reminder that even in the darkest hours of war, there can be glimmers of light and hope. The spirit of that night lives on as a symbol of peace and understanding. As we delve deeper into the stories of World War II, let us remember this unique moment in history, a testament to the power of human connection amidst conflict. One more thing before we begin. I'm also a co-founder of a sleep app, built to be the most affordable one out there. No ads, ever. Just sounds and stories made to help you sleep. It may not be released yet as this video goes up, but if you're watching a little later, it might be out by now. Just search for it, it should be easy to find. It works on iPhone, Android, and everything in between. Downloading it is the best way to support this channel. In the quietude of a June night in 1941, Germany prepared to execute an operation that would alter the course of World War II forever. This was no ordinary maneuver, it bore the codename Operation Barbarossa, after a medieval emperor known for his ferocity and conquest. On June 28, 1941, the largest military force in history was assembled along the Soviet border, ready to strike at a moment's notice. With over 3 million soldiers, 600,000 motor vehicles, and 7,000 tanks, this was not merely an invasion, it was a colossal undertaking. The aim? To secure vast Soviet territories and resources, turning the tide of the war in Germany's favour. But amidst this chaos, there existed moments of unexpected connection, brief encounters of kindness, and mutual understanding between men and women from different nations. As the night wore on, soldiers on both sides found themselves in situations that transcended the lines drawn by war. A German medic treating a wounded Russian soldier might share a cigarette, their eyes meeting across a divide of language and ideology, but with a shared humanity. These fleeting moments of compassion served as poignant reminders that even in the darkest times, the essence of our shared humanity could shine through. Yet, as dawn broke, the harsh realities of war would return, and these soldiers would find themselves once again entrenched in the brutal struggle that defined their lives. In the dead of night, during one of the most brutal and defining battles of World War II, a city stood as a symbol of resistance against the German onslaught. This was Stalingrad. The Battle of Stalingrad raged from August 23, 1942 to February 2, 1943. It was a relentless siege that would change the course of the war. Here, in this frozen landscape, two formidable forces clashed: the Wehrmacht, the German army, and the Red Army, the Soviets. The fight for Stalingrad was no ordinary battle. It was a struggle to control a strategically vital city on the Volga River, a critical supply route for the Soviet Union. As dawn broke each day, soldiers on both sides found little respite from the battle's intensity. The conflict was characterized by close-quarters combat, with snipers and machine guns creating a deadly landscape. The battle saw horrific casualties on both sides, with estimates of over 2 million soldiers and civilians killed or wounded. This brutal struggle would come to define the war on the Eastern Front. In this nightmarish context, brief moments of solace and mutual understanding between soldiers from different nations became cherished and poignant. Amidst the chaos of World War II, a formidable obstacle stood in the way of the Allied advance into Europe, the Atlantic Wall. This defensive fortification, built by Nazi Germany, stretched along the coast of continental Europe and Scandinavia. It was designed to protect against an anticipated invasion from the west, and it posed a significant challenge to the Allied forces planning their landings on D-Day. The Atlantic Wall was no ordinary barrier. It consisted of thousands of bunkers, gun emplacements, and artillery pieces, positioned strategically to create a continuous line of defense. These fortifications were designed to withstand the heavy bombardment and amphibious assaults that the Allies planned to unleash. One of the most infamous sections of the Atlantic Wall was in Normandy, France. Here, the German engineers had constructed a series of heavily fortified bunkers and artillery positions that were designed to repel any Allied landing attempt. The sheer scale and complexity of these defences meant that the task facing the Allied forces was daunting indeed. The Allies faced another significant challenge in their attempt to breach the Atlantic Wall: time. Nighttime operations offered a glimmer of hope for stealth, but the heavily fortified areas were designed to thwart even the most careful of advances. The defensive measures meant that every movement by the Allied forces would be met with immediate and deadly response from the German troops manning these bunkers. Under the cloak of night, on June 6, 1944, over 150,000 Allied troops embarked on what would be known as D-Day. The invasion targeted 5 strategic beaches in Normandy, France, Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword. The primary objective was to establish a foothold in Europe, breaking the grip of Nazi Germany's occupation. The Allied forces comprised troops from the United States, Britain, Canada, and other nations, all united under one goal: liberate Western Europe from Axis control. As dawn broke on June 6th, the scale of the operation became starkly evident. The beaches were filled with the cacophony of war, explosions, gunfire, and the desperate shouts of men fighting for their lives. Yet amidst the chaos, there were fleeting moments of humanity that cut through the carnage. In one such instance, a wounded German soldier lay bleeding on Omaha Beach. An American medic rushed to his aid, offering what little medical assistance he could amidst the ongoing battle. The medic whispered words of comfort in broken German, acknowledging that they were both just men caught up in the horrors of war. Even as bullets flew and explosions rocked the shoreline, there was a brief pause, a moment of mutual understanding between two men from opposing armies. The German soldier grasped the medic's hand in gratitude before succumbing to his wounds. This small act of kindness served as a sobering reminder that even within the devastation of war, moments of human connection could still emerge. As the Allied forces secured their initial objectives and began to push inland, the true extent of the invasion's success became clear. The beaches served as a gateway for further operations aimed at liberating France and ultimately ending the war in Europe. Despite the overwhelming nature of the invasion, it was these quieter moments, the moments of compassion and shared humanity, that often held the deepest impact on those who witnessed them. They served as a stark contrast to the devastation and highlighted the resilience of the human spirit amidst even the most trying circumstances. In the frostbitten forests of Belgium, a desperate battle was about to unfold under the cloak of night. This was the Battle of the Bulge, one of the last major German offensives during World War II. It took place from December 16, 1944 to January 25, 1945, a span of over a month where the fate of Europe hung in the balance. The Germans, under the command of Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt, aimed to break through the Allied lines and capture the vital port of Antwerp. Their goal was to drive a wedge between American and British forces, slowing down the Allied advance into Germany. The Americans were taken by surprise. In the dead of night, German troops attacked along a 100-kilometer front, catching many soldiers off guard. But the Allies were not defenseless. They had faced adversity before and knew how to rally under pressure. The Battle of the Bulge would become a testament to their determination. Despite the initial setbacks, American troops held key positions and fought back with ferocity. One such battle was the Siege of Bastogne, where American forces were surrounded and cut off from supplies. Yet even in these dire circumstances, there were moments of unexpected kindness. In the town of La Glaise, a young German soldier found himself face to face with an American nurse tending to the wounded. Rather than acting out of fear or aggression, he offered her a chocolate bar from his rations. It was a brief encounter, a glimpse of humanity amidst the chaos and carnage. Such moments revealed the desperation and resilience of soldiers on both sides during the darkest hours of the war. The Battle of Berlin, which took place from April 16 to May 2, 1945, marked the final major offensive of World War II in Europe. This decisive battle was fought as Soviet forces advanced on the German capital, with the aim of ending the war in the European theatre once and for all. Berlin was a city of significant strategic importance due to its symbolic value as the Nazi regime's capital. The battle involved over 2 million Soviet troops and a multitude of Allied forces. The fight for the city was fierce and saw intense urban combat, with both German defenders and Soviet attackers suffering heavy casualties. Despite the brutality of the conflict, even in this dark hour, moments of humanity could shine through. There were accounts of German civilians and Russian soldiers sharing bread and water during lulls in the fighting. These brief encounters of mutual understanding served as a poignant reminder that even amidst the chaos and destruction of war, there remained the capacity for compassion between people from different nations. The Battle of Berlin was a pivotal moment in the war's endgame. With its fall, the Soviet Union gained significant territory and influence within Europe. As the city crumbled under the relentless assault, it became clear that the end of the war in Europe was imminent. Just days after Berlin's surrender, Germany would capitulate unconditionally. And so, even at the end, amidst the ruins and despair, humanity could still shine through. These moments of connection offered a glimmer of hope in an otherwise bleak landscape. The Battle of Berlin brought the curtain down on World War II in Europe, marking a conclusion to one of history's darkest chapters. As the Battle of Berlin drew to a close, marking the end of World War II in Europe, attention turned to the Pacific Theatre. Here, the vastness of the ocean served as both a battleground and a stage for unexpected encounters. The Pacific Theatre of World War II saw significant naval engagements that would shape the course of history. One such engagement was the Battle of Midway in 1942. This pivotal battle saw the US Navy inflict a devastating defeat on the Imperial Japanese Navy, marking a turning point in the war. Midway was crucial because it crippled Japan's ability to expand its territorial claims in the Pacific. Another significant naval engagement was the Battle of Leyte Gulf in 1944. This battle is often considered the largest naval engagement in history, involving over 280 warships and 1,700 aircraft. Even amidst these vast naval battles, moments of connection between soldiers could be found. For instance, during the dark nights at sea, American and Japanese sailors would sometimes exchange cigarettes as a gesture of mutual respect. These brief encounters underscored the shared humanity that could exist even in the heat of battle. The vastness of the ocean might have separated them geographically, but it could not separate their shared experiences as soldiers. Even in the intense and deadly battles of Midway and Leyte Gulf, these moments serve as a reminder that the stories of war are complex and multifaceted. For all its destruction, war can also reveal the resilience of human connection and understanding. The Pacific theatre may have been a stage for great battles, but it was also the backdrop for quiet moments of mutual recognition. As we reflect on these historical events, it's these moments that remind us of the enduring power of human connection. In the early hours of December 7, 1941, the tranquil waters of Pearl Harbor were about to witness one of history's most devastating surprise attacks. The Imperial Japanese Navy, under strict orders to maintain secrecy, launched a meticulously planned assault against the United States. With precision timing, the first wave of Japanese aircraft descended upon the harbor, catching the American forces entirely off guard. The attack was so sudden and overwhelming that many sailors initially mistook the incoming planes for their own fleet conducting a training exercise. Within minutes, the harbor erupted into chaos as ships and airfields were targeted with devastating accuracy. The USS Arizona took a direct hit from a bomb, leading to a catastrophic explosion that killed over 1,100 sailors and Marines. The strategic significance of Pearl Harbor was immense, as the harbor served as a key Pacific base for the US Navy. The attack crippled the American fleet and dealt a significant blow to the nation's morale and military readiness. Sailors from both sides tended to the wounded and provided comfort to those in distress, demonstrating a shared sense of humanity that transcends conflict. Despite the horrors of war, such instances highlight the capacity for empathy and mutual support, even in the most trying circumstances. These fleeting moments serve as beacons of hope, illustrating that even in darkness, there exists a glimmer of shared understanding and mutual respect. In the heart of World War II, a silent battle raged not on the front lines, but within the minds of men and machines. This was the realm of cryptography, the art and science of making messages unreadable to those who are not intended to receive them. Among the most infamous tools in this secret war was the Enigma Machine. Developed by Germany, the Enigma Machine was a complex electromechanical device used to encode and decode messages. It was designed to ensure that communications between Nazi forces remained secure. With its rotating wheels and intricate wiring configurations, it transformed plain text into seemingly unbreakable ciphertext. The machine's cryptographic strength lay in the staggering number of possible settings, an estimated 150 million billion billion 150 quintillion different combinations. This made it nearly impossible to decipher messages without the correct settings, giving German commanders a false sense of security. Meanwhile, in Britain at Bletchley Park, Allied code breakers were determined to unravel this enigmatic puzzle. They recognized that the Enigma Machine's complexity was also its greatest weakness. It couldn't be changed frequently without risking miscommunication between operators. Led by mathematician Alan Turing, the team at Bletchley Park developed a brilliant strategy. They used a technique called cribbing to make educated guesses about parts of the message. By feeding these cribs into machines known as bombs and later Colossus, they could systematically eliminate incorrect settings. In a relentless race against time, Bletchley Park's code breakers slowly chipped away at the Enigma Machine's defenses. Each successful decryption provided invaluable insights into German strategies and operations, turning the tide of war bit by bit. But this was not just a battle of wits between machines. It was also a testament to human ingenuity and tenacity on both sides. German operators believed their messages were secure, while Allied codebreakers labored tirelessly to expose these secrets. In the quiet of night, as messages flashed across the battlefield, a silent respect emerged amidst the chaos. Each side acknowledged the other's skill and determination in this cryptographic duel, even as they fought to outwit one another. The Soviet Union bore the brunt of World War II, suffering an estimated 27 million casualties. This staggering figure represents a significant portion of the total deaths during the conflict, with the Soviets enduring more losses than any other nation involved in the war. To put this number into perspective, consider that these 27 million lives were lost in a span of just 4 years, from 1941 to 1945. That's equivalent to the entire population of present-day Hanoi, Vietnam vanishing within a blink of an eye. The sheer scale of this loss is nearly incomprehensible. These battles were not only significant in their strategic importance, but also in their human cost. Tens of thousands of soldiers lost their lives, with many more wounded or captured. Beyond the military losses, the civilian population suffered tremendously. The Siege of Leningrad, which lasted from September 8, 1941 to January 27, 1944, resulted in over 1 million civilian deaths due to starvation and disease. The staggering number of Soviet casualties is a grim reminder of the human cost of war. It underscores the necessity for moments of solace and understanding amidst such devastating loss. The need for these moments becomes even more profound when we consider the sheer scale of destruction that war brings. In World War II, every life lost was a tragedy, and the Soviet casualties represent a stark reminder of this. The end of the war brought no immediate respite for those who survived. The task of rebuilding lives and communities fell heavily on the shoulders of the remaining population. Perhaps, in remembering their sacrifices, we can find inspiration to strive for a more peaceful future where such devastating losses are nothing but a distant memory. The Holocaust, one of the darkest chapters in human history, resulted in the deaths of approximately 6 million Jews and millions of other victims from various persecuted groups. This systematic persecution and murder of entire communities had a devastating impact on European Jewry, shattering families and destroying cultural heritage. The sheer scale of the atrocities is almost incomprehensible. Millions of lives lost to hate and intolerance. It was the Night of the Living Dead, a name that would later be given to this night due to its eerie and surreal nature. Amidst the silent and frozen landscape, a spontaneous truce emerged between Soviet and German soldiers. This ceasefire was not planned or ordered, it simply began as an instinctive response to the harsh conditions. The exact origin of this impromptu ceasefire is unknown, but it is believed that a small group of soldiers from both sides decided to lay down their weapons and gather around a makeshift fire. They were joined by more soldiers who slowly emerged from their trenches, drawn to the light and warmth of the fire. For a moment, they were not enemies but simply men seeking solace in the bitter cold. One notable individual was a Soviet soldier named Ivan, who shared stories of his family and the simple life they once led before the war. His German counterparts listened intently, their eyes reflecting the fire's glow. The truce lasted for hours, with neither side attempting to break the silence and return to fighting. It was as if the cold itself had frozen, not just the land, but also the hatred that fueled their conflict. As dawn began to break, reality slowly seeped back into their consciousness. They knew that the truce was a temporary respite from the brutal war that would soon consume them again. The soldiers quietly picked up their weapons and retreated back to their trenches. The Night of the Living Dead came to an end, but it left a lasting impression on those who witnessed it. This brief moment of peace highlighted the capacity for human connection even in the direst of circumstances. It serves as a reminder that beneath the uniforms and propaganda lies a common humanity. The war would continue its brutal course, claiming countless lives, but this night of unexpected truce stands as a testament to the enduring power of human connection. On the cold night of December 14, 1943, an American P-51 Mustang fighter plane plummeted from the sky over occupied France. The pilot, Second Lieutenant Robert Johnson, was on a reconnaissance mission when his aircraft was hit by anti-aircraft fire. Johnson managed to bail out, but he found himself behind enemy lines in the small town of St. Vincent de Paul. The town was under Nazi control, and Johnson's chances of survival were slim. As he drifted to the ground, his parachute caught on a tall oak tree, leaving him dangling several feet off the ground. Exhausted and injured, Johnson was in no condition to evade capture. However, fate had other plans. Just as the first Nazi soldiers approached his location, a group of French civilians, led by a woman named Marie, stepped in to intervene. Marie and her companions quickly cut Johnson down from the tree and helped him to safety. They whisked him away to a nearby farmhouse, where they hid him in the attic. Over the next few days, Marie and her family provided Johnson with food, water, and medical care. They even helped him construct a fake identity to avoid detection by Nazi patrols. One particularly harrowing moment came when a group of German soldiers entered the farmhouse for an unexpected inspection. Marie, with remarkable composure, introduced Johnson as her injured cousin. The soldiers accepted the explanation without suspicion and left the premises. This near miss underscored the precariousness of Johnson's situation, but also highlighted the extraordinary lengths to which his rescuers were willing to go. Eventually, with the help of the local French resistance, Johnson was smuggled across the border into neutral Switzerland and to safety. While the Allied forces worked to liberate occupied territories, the nights were often filled with quiet moments of human connection amidst the chaos of war. In one such instance, a British nurse named Elizabeth was on a medical evacuation mission near the Atlantic Wall. As Elizabeth's transport vessel approached the shore, the night sky was lit up with artillery fire from Allied aerial bombardment and naval artillery. Amidst the chaos, Elizabeth's team received a call for medical assistance from a nearby village. Upon arriving at the village, they found several injured German soldiers, including one named Heinrich, who was severely wounded. Elizabeth, with her medical kit in hand, approached Heinrich and began to tend to his wounds under the dim light of a nearby building. Despite the language barrier, Elizabeth's calm demeanour and skillful care brought a sense of comfort to Heinrich. In a moment of quiet understanding, Heinrich managed to utter a few words in broken English. "Thank you. You are an angel." This brief exchange transcended the lines of enemy and ally, showcasing how moments of human kindness can resonate even in the darkest of times. As Elizabeth finished her work and prepared to leave, she whispered softly to Heinrich, "Stay strong. We are all just trying to survive this madness." The encounter left a lasting impression on both Elizabeth and Heinrich, a reminder that even in the throes of war, acts of compassion can bridge divides. As nightfall in Stalingrad descends, the city's defenders huddle together for warmth and protection. The Battle of Stalingrad rages on, one of World War II's most brutal engagements, where every inch of ground is fiercely contested. Temperatures plummet below freezing, turning the city's streets into treacherous ice rinks and making every breath a struggle. In this harsh environment, survival becomes more crucial than victory. In the midst of this chaos, two soldiers find themselves on opposite sides of a partially destroyed building, one Russian, the other German. Separated by mere meters but divided by the war's deep ideological chasm, both men are equally exhausted and desperate for respite from the relentless cold. The German soldier, Heinrich, notices a faint glow coming from a small window on the Russian side of the building. He recognizes it as the dim light of a candle. Heinrich decides to take a risk, understanding that in this moment of shared vulnerability, they are not just enemies, but fellow human beings fighting the same brutal elements. Cautiously, he calls out to the Russian soldier, asking if he can share some warmth. The Russian, Ivan, hesitates, but then nods in agreement. Ivan carefully extends a small parcel of food and a blanket through the window. Heinrich accepts them gratefully, and they both settle down against their respective walls, drawing what little comfort they can from each other's presence. Their small act of kindness is a brief respite in the night's otherwise unyielding harshness, a moment of shared humanity amidst the war's senseless brutality. As dawn breaks and the fighting resumes, both soldiers go their separate ways, carrying with them a quiet memory of this unexpected encounter. In that frigid night in Stalingrad, the war's dividing lines blurred just enough to reveal that beneath all the conflict and ideologies, there remains a common thread of human experience. On Christmas Eve of 1914, a mere 5 months into the war, German soldiers stationed near Ypres in Belgium began singing Stille Nacht, Silent Night. Their British counterparts across no man's land joined in song, creating an impromptu truce that lasted through Christmas Day. Similar scenes unfolded along the Western Front throughout the war. Soldiers raised white flags, indicating temporary ceasefires for burial or aid purposes. In these moments of truce, enemy soldiers would meet in no man's land to bury their fallen comrades with dignity. One such instance occurred near the village of Ploegstert on December 24, 1915. German and British troops laid down their arms to retrieve the bodies of their comrades who had fallen in a trench between them. The sight of men, once sworn enemies, working together under the cold glow of the moon was both surreal and poignant. It served as a stark reminder that beneath all the conflict and ideologies, there remained a common thread of human experience. In another instance near Langemark in 1917, German soldiers raised white flags to signal their intention to bury the dead. British troops responded by raising their own white flag, indicating they would allow the Germans to cross into no man's land unharmed. For hours, German soldiers laboured under the watchful eyes of their British counterparts. The truce held, a testament to the power of mutual respect and understanding even in the darkest times. These moments of respite were not isolated incidents. They occurred sporadically throughout the war, each one a glimmer of shared humanity amidst the chaos and destruction. Even in the darkest nights, when the cold wind carried whispers of death, there were moments of kindness that transcended the brutal realities of war. These brief encounters served as a powerful reminder that beneath all the division and conflict, there existed a fundamental bond between people. A bond that could not be broken by ideologies or bullets. And so, amidst the trenches and the barbed wire, under the cold glow of the moon, there existed moments of truce and mutual respect. Moments that demonstrated the enduring power of humanity, even in the darkest of times. In the dead of night, as the moon cast its cold glow over the Danube River, a different sort of battle unfolded between the Soviet and German soldiers. Not one of guns and grenades, but of wits and willpower. The Danube, a lifeline through Eastern Europe, was not merely a strategic crossing point for the advancing armies. It was a treacherous barrier that could spell doom for any soldier who underestimated its power. Soldiers from both sides often found themselves stranded on the riverbanks, surrounded by deadly currents and the constant threat of enemy fire. Yet, amidst the chaos and destruction, there existed moments of unexpected cooperation. Moments when the cold logic of war gave way to a shared humanity that transcended national boundaries. One such instance occurred in 1943 during Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of the Soviet Union. A young Soviet soldier, caught off guard by a sudden enemy advance, found himself plunged into the icy waters of the Danube. As he struggled to stay afloat, a German soldier noticed his plight and, without hesitation, extended a helping hand. The river's current was strong, but the two soldiers worked together to pull the Soviet back onto solid ground. It was a risky act of kindness that could have cost both their lives. Across the riverbank, under the watchful eyes of their comrades and commanders, such acts were not uncommon. They served as brief reminders that even in war, there existed moments of mutual respect and understanding. These encounters did little to alter the course of the war, but offered a glimpse into the resilience of human compassion. They showed that amidst conflict and destruction, there existed instances where the bonds of humanity prevailed. Beneath the soft glow of a quarter moon, soldiers from both sides of the conflict found themselves in unexpected moments of compassion. In the shadows cast by ancient trees and crumbling ruins, German medics often risked their lives to tend to wounded Allied soldiers. These acts of kindness were not motivated by politics or strategy, but by a shared sense of humanity that transcended the battlefield. One such instance involved a gravely injured American paratrooper who lay stranded in no man's land. A group of German soldiers, under cover of darkness, braved the enemy fire to carry him back to their lines for medical treatment. The sight of these men, once considered foes, now engaged in an act of mercy, was a powerful reminder that even in the heart of war, basic human decency could shine through. Another story tells of British soldiers discovering a wounded German soldier hiding in their trench during a night raid. Rather than taking him prisoner or leaving him to die, they provided medical aid and kept him warm until the dawn broke. As the conflict raged on, these small acts of compassion offered a glimpse into the resilience and complexity of human nature. They revealed that even in the darkest hours, a glimmer of light could be found through basic human decency. And with the dawn, these soldiers would return to their posts, carrying with them a quiet understanding that transcended the battlefield. In the darkness of war-torn Warsaw, where the city lay sieged and divided by enemy lines, a different kind of encounter unfolded during nighttime. Secret communications and clandestine alliances emerged between Polish resistance fighters and German officers who opposed the Nazi regime. German officers who disagreed with Hitler's tyranny often found ways to subtly undermine the regime. In one instance, a German officer named Eberhard Helm secretly met with Polish resistance fighters. These meetings were not about strategy or military tactics, but rather about forging an understanding between two groups that shared a common enemy. In these clandestine nighttime meetings, German officers passed vital information to the Polish resistance. This intelligence was crucial for planning operations and avoiding Nazi traps. For a moment, despite the war raging around them, there was a quiet understanding that transcended battle lines. In Warsaw, these secret communications and alliances underscored the resilience of human spirit in the face of adversity. They showed that even in the darkest hours of war, there can be moments of understanding and mutual respect between enemies. This quiet resistance, forged during clandestine nighttime meetings, serves as a reminder that tyranny cannot extinguish the human spirit. Even in the midst of war, moments of kindness and mutual understanding can emerge and resist oppression. December 24, 1944, in the Ardennes forest of Belgium. It's known as the Battle of the Bulge, an intense and brutal conflict within World War II. Soldiers from both German and American forces have dug into the snow, preparing for the night ahead. Among them is a young American soldier, barely 20 years old. He's been stationed here only a few days and feels the weight of his responsibility. His name, Private Miller. Just across the line, in a similar dugout, sits German soldier Corporal Schmidt. He's been at war for years now and has seen more than his young age should ever have to witness. Tonight, the air is unusually still. The usual rumble of battle is quieted by the snow that has begun to fall. It's an eerie calm that seems to hang heavy over the forest. Suddenly, Private Miller notices something strange. A small, carefully wrapped package has been placed outside his dugout. Inside, a loaf of bread and a bottle of wine. He hesitates, unsure whether it's some kind of trap. But then he remembers the stories his grandfather told him about the Christmas Truce in World War I, a moment of peace amidst war. Tentatively, Private Miller takes a bite of the bread and tastes the wine. It's simple fare, but comforting in this harsh environment. He realizes that someone, somewhere, took the time to bake and wrap these treats for him. Across the line, Corporal Schmidt watches as Private Miller enjoys his gift. He feels a strange sense of satisfaction. Perhaps there is still some humanity left in this world after all. In the morning, when the snow has stopped and the forest begins to stir again, Private Miller decides to leave a small token of thanks, a piece of his military rations. It's not much, but it's all he can offer in return. Corporal Schmidt finds the small package and smiles to himself. Despite their differences, there is a shared understanding between them, even if just for a moment. It's a quiet reminder that in the midst of war, moments of kindness and mutual understanding can emerge. On the Normandy beaches, where the tide washes away the bloodshed of the day, another battle rages under the moonlit sky. It's the night of the lost dogs, a time when man's best friend becomes another casualty of war. Dogs, left behind by retreating owners or driven from their homes by the chaos of battle, wander the darkened landscape in search of shelter. These lost canines are a tragic reminder of the devastation that war brings to all living beings. But amidst this desolation, there is a glimmer of hope. British and German soldiers who have fought each other throughout the day join forces to care for these strays. They build makeshift shelters out of whatever they can find, blankets, broken crates, even their own jackets. These simple acts of kindness provide a momentary reprieve from the horrors of war. The soldiers share their rations with the dogs, offering them comfort and sustenance in this time of crisis. It's a poignant reminder that beneath the uniforms and the patriotic zeal, there are just people who understand the universal language of compassion. These acts of kindness transcend national boundaries, showing that even in the darkest hours of war, moments of mutual understanding can emerge. And so, under the Normandy moon, a silent truce is observed. Not by governments or military commanders, but by ordinary soldiers bound together by their shared humanity. In a bombed-out building, far from the front lines, an American platoon found themselves in an unexpected sanctuary. The structure, once grand and now reduced to rubble, offered some respite from the chaos of war. Amidst the debris, a lone figure appeared. A Russian pianist, his eyes weary but determined. He had somehow managed to keep the piano intact throughout the battle, a testament to both his skill and the power of music that could still resonate in the midst of destruction. The Americans watched in awe as the pianist seated himself at the battered instrument, fingers hovering over the keys. Despite the ruins around him, he seemed to carry an air of quiet dignity, a symbol of enduring human spirit amidst despair. He began to play, and the music filled the empty space like a whisper from another world. The melody was familiar yet distant, echoing through the broken walls as if summoned from some unreachable past. The soldiers listened, captivated by this unexpected gift of beauty amidst the brutality of war. The music transcended language barriers and cultural divides, creating a moment of shared understanding that no diplomatic effort could have achieved. Art, it seemed, could bridge the gaps where politics failed. For a fleeting moment, the piano concert transformed the bombed-out building into a sanctuary of peace, reminding all present of their common humanity. As the final notes faded away, the soldiers applauded softly, acknowledging the pianist's gift and his courage in a world where courage often meant something far darker. It was a silent testament to the power of art to unite even when so much sought to divide. Though the Battle of Berlin would rage on for days more, that night, under the glow of the ruined city, a brief encounter of kindness and mutual understanding had taken place between men from different nations. A moment that echoed through time, a testament to the enduring power of human connection. And so, amidst the destruction of war, an impromptu concert had revealed a profound truth. Art and music could bridge divides even in the darkest of times. A small beacon of hope in the vast and tumultuous landscape of World War II. In the midst of World War II, a different kind of battle was being waged in secret corners of France. Known as the Night of the Hidden Children, this story unfolds one particular evening when the lives of many were at stake. Under the cover of darkness, French civilians risked everything to shelter Jewish children from the clutches of Nazi forces. These acts of selfless bravery were not mere acts of kindness. They were lifelines extending hope amidst the despair and destruction of war. Tucked away in hidden rooms and attics, these children found temporary sanctuary as German soldiers prowled the streets. The stakes were high. If discovered, both the children and their protectors would face severe consequences. On this fateful night, a small village nestled among the rolling hills of France was home to several Jewish families. The villagers had formed an intricate network, quietly working together to keep the children safe. The sound of boots echoing through the cobblestone streets sent a chill down their spines. Rumors had spread that a patrol was on its way, checking every house for signs of hiding Jews. The villagers' hearts pounded in unison as they held their breath, praying for safety. In one such house, a young woman named Marie quickly gathered the children, whispering softly to calm them. She led them down a narrow staircase, their small feet scuffling against the worn wood. The group descended into the dark cellar, where an old blanket and some spare food were waiting. Marie huddled with the frightened children, her arms wrapped tightly around them. Suddenly, the creaking of the front door sent a jolt through the house. Heavy footsteps echoed from room to room as the soldiers began their search. Marie's heart raced, but she maintained her composure, whispering reassurances to the children. "It will be all right," she murmured, though her own voice trembled with fear. The soldiers' boots thudded upstairs, growing louder as they moved closer to the cellar door. Marie held her breath, clutching the children tightly. A sudden silence fell. The soldiers seemed to have paused, perhaps sensing something amiss. Marie could feel the children's hearts pounding against her own. Time seemed to stretch out endlessly as they waited in tense anticipation. Just when it seemed the moment of discovery was inevitable, the soldiers moved on. Marie let out a soft sigh of relief as she hugged the children closer, feeling their small bodies relax in her arms. The night wore on, and eventually the sounds of the patrol faded away. The village returned to its uneasy quiet. As dawn broke, Marie led the children back upstairs, their small hands clutching at her skirts. The villagers breathed a collective sigh of relief. Another night had passed safely, another day closer to freedom for these young ones. This story illustrates the heroism and bravery of ordinary people during times of great danger and conflict. The Night of the Hidden Children stands as a testament to human resilience and compassion in the face of overwhelming adversity. Even in the darkest hours, small acts of kindness could make a world of difference. Throughout World War II, countless tales of such selfless bravery emerge from Europe's shadows, reminding us that even amidst destruction and despair, hope can endure. In the quiet of night, amidst the rumbling echoes of war, many soldiers found solace in a simple act, writing letters home. Amidst the chaos of battles like Stalingrad and Kursk, where tanks clashed and bombs fell, there were moments when all was still. In these quiet hours, soldiers would sit under the faint glow of a lantern or moonlight, their hearts heavy with thoughts of home. They would take out paper and pen, beginning to write secret letters that they hoped would find their way back to loved ones far away. These letters were not just about the horrors of war or the mundane details of army life. They often contained words of love and longing, a glimpse into their humanity. Caregivers support programs, like those offered by Soldiers' Angels, ensured that these missives were not mere scraps of paper lost in the fray. They made sure these secret letters were delivered, carrying with them a sliver of hope and normalcy amidst the turmoil. For soldiers, receiving such letters was like a lifeline connecting them to their loved ones across vast distances and devastating circumstances. These moments of connection amidst the chaos of war highlight the power of human connection and hope in even the darkest of times. It's August 1942, and the Battle of Stalingrad is in full swing. Soviet snipers have taken refuge on a rooftop, hiding from German artillery that relentlessly pounds the city. Among them is Lyudmila Pavlichenko, a Ukrainian sharpshooter who has become known as Lady Death for her precise and lethal aim. Despite the constant danger, there are moments of unexpected quiet during the night. On one such occasion, Pavlichenko hears footsteps approaching through the rubble-strewn streets below. She tenses, her rifle at the ready, but the figure in the darkness is not a German soldier. It's a young Russian boy, no more than 10 years old, carrying a small package wrapped in cloth. The boy stops at the base of the building and calls up to her softly. "Comrade Sniper," he says, "I have brought you something from home." Pavlichenko's expression softens as she looks down at the child, his eyes reflecting the dim light of a distant bomb explosion. She carefully makes her way down from the rooftop, meeting the boy at the entrance to the building. "What is it?" she asks gently, taking the package from him. The boy opens the cloth to reveal a small loaf of black bread and some dried fruit. "My mother baked this for you," he says, his voice filled with pride. "She wanted you to know that someone is thinking of you out there." Pavlichenko takes the bread and fruit, her eyes welling up with gratitude and a sense of shared humanity that transcends the brutality of war. Such moments of unexpected kindness are not uncommon during wartime. In 1943, amidst the fierce Battle of Kursk, a German soldier named Hans and a Russian soldier named Ivan find themselves in a foxhole together after a night of intense fighting. Despite being enemies, they share stories about their families back home, each trying to grasp the other's reality. Hans talks about his wife and children in Berlin, while Ivan speaks of his parents and siblings in a small village near Moscow. As the night wears on, they realize that their common humanity outweighs their political differences. They promise to write letters to each other's families if they survive the war. These instances of mutual understanding under the cover of darkness highlight the power of human connection, showing how unlikely friendships can transcend enmity, even in the most trying of times. As the moon casts its silvery glow over the Atlantic wall, a young German soldier sits on watch, his thoughts wandering to the life he left behind. He is not alone in this lonely vigil. Soldiers from all sides of the conflict experience moments of introspection and reflection during the quiet hours of the night. On this particular night in 1942, his mind drifts back to Berlin. He remembers the laughter and warmth of his family's small apartment, a stark contrast to the cold concrete he now sits on. He wonders about his younger sister, if she is well, and whether their parents can still afford to send her the occasional letter and care package from home. Thousands of miles away, an American soldier stands guard on the beaches of Normandy, his mind similarly plagued by thoughts of home. He pictures his wife and their newborn child, wondering if they have felt the same chill in the air as he does now. He tries to imagine the sound of their laughter and the touch of his child's soft hand, but the images are fuzzy and incomplete. The German soldier, now staring out at the dark sea, thinks about the irony of his situation. He is fighting to protect his homeland and family, yet he is so far removed from them that their reality seems more distant than the stars above him. Across the vast expanse of the Soviet Union, a young Russian soldier huddles in his foxhole, the cold wind whipping around him. He thinks back to the quiet evenings on his family's farm, where the only sound was the gentle hum of the bees in their apiary. He misses those peaceful times and wonders if he will ever see them again. His thoughts turn to the uncertainty of the war and whether he will make it through another day. The Atlantic wall stretches out before him, a stark reminder of the vastness of the conflict and the distance between his present reality and the comforts of home. As dawn begins to break over the horizon, the soldiers slowly rise from their posts, carrying with them a renewed determination to endure another day. As the first rays of sunlight begin to stretch across the European sky, a new kind of battle takes shape in the quiet shadows of night. While the world sleeps, hidden messages flutter through the air like invisible birds, carrying secrets and hope between allies. The French resistance, known for their daring efforts to disrupt German operations, also orchestrated a delicate underground railroad to shepherd Allied soldiers safely back into Britain. Using clandestine radios and coded transmissions, resistance fighters guided pilots to secluded landing spots marked with specific signals, a candle in a window or a lantern in the woods. Meanwhile, across the English Channel, Dutch resistance fighters were engaged in another act of kindness, saving Jewish children from the grip of Nazi persecution. Through a network of secret codes and hidden messages, Dutch families volunteered to shelter young Jewish refugees in their homes, risking their own lives to protect the innocent. One such message read, "A new baby arrived." This seemingly innocuous phrase was a coded request for supplies, medicines, or even shelter for the children in need. These subtle communications were a lifeline, connecting people of different nations in their shared humanity and resilience during some of the darkest days of war. The stories they whispered into the night echoed far beyond the borders of occupied Europe, a testament to the power of compassion and courage in even the most dire circumstances. As the night deepens once more, these hidden messages serve as a reminder of the subtle ways in which people found ways to help one another, despite the risks involved. In the stillness of night, the true spirit of humanity shines through, offering a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness. As the sun dips below the horizon, the landscape transforms under the cloak of darkness. It is in these quiet hours that certain stories unfold, hidden from the prying eyes of daylight. Tales of secret operations, daring rescues, and quiet acts of compassion that transcend borders and nationalities. One such story is the Children's Exodus, a covert operation that saved thousands of Jewish children from certain doom. In the stillness of night, small groups of children were secretly transported out of German-occupied territories, across borders, and into the safety of neutral countries. The operation was meticulously planned, with each detail carefully orchestrated to avoid detection. Children were smuggled in small groups, often under the cover of darkness and disguised as non-Jewish children. In Italy, another silent rescue operation was underway, the Underground Railway. This clandestine network assisted Allied POWs and downed airmen, guiding them through treacherous terrain to safety. Volunteers risked their lives to navigate the complex routes, often relying on memorized maps and hidden safe houses. the silence of night was their ally, concealing their movements from enemy patrols. These silent rescues were not just about saving lives, they were about preserving hope in a time of desperation. Each child transported to safety, each airman guided to freedom, was a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. Underneath the chaos of war, these quiet acts of heroism stood out like beacons in the night. They reminded everyone that even in the darkest hours, there is always a glimmer of light. The true spirit of humanity shines brightly in these moments of unassuming bravery. These silent rescues were more than just operations. They were a lifeline, a promise of hope, and a beacon guiding the lost back to safety. In the stillness of night, as the world around them slept, these unsung heroes were busy weaving threads of hope and compassion, stitching together a tapestry of resilience that would outlast the war. The silence was not just a cover for their actions, it became a symbol of their defiance and a testament to their enduring spirit. As dawn breaks, the landscape is transformed once again, but the echoes of these silent rescues remain, whispering tales of heroism and hope that will forever be etched in history. As the first light of dawn breaks over war-torn Europe, the landscape begins to transform once again. The silence of the night gives way to the distant rumble of artillery, a grim reminder that the day will bring fresh struggles and challenges. But amidst this chaos, there exists a unique moment of tranquility, a hidden tradition known as the Secret Christmases. This is not just any Christmas. It is a brief pause in the relentless conflict where soldiers from both sides lay down their arms and come together in peace. In 1944, as the Battle of the Bulge rages on, a peculiar ceasefire takes place in the cold, snowy forests of Belgium and France. It is here that the German soldiers make an unusual proposal to their Allied counterparts, a truce for Christmas. Across the icy no-man's land, both sides cautiously approach each other under a flag of truce. The atmosphere is tense but hopeful. Soldiers from different nations, who had been fighting fiercely just hours before, now gather to celebrate this secret Christmases. German soldiers, with hearts full of holiday spirit, bring out gifts and decorations they have been saving for this special occasion. They hang small, makeshift Christmas trees from their helmets, adorned with candles and tiny ornaments. Allied soldiers, moved by the unexpected gesture, respond in kind. They share rations of food, chocolate bars, and tins of sardines, and exchange small tokens of friendship. The sound of carols fills the air, a stark contrast to the usual explosions and gunfire. German soldiers sing Stille Nacht, Silent Night, in their native tongue, while Allied troops join in with their own versions of the Christmas classic. As the candlelight flickers in the cold night, the war seems far away. For a brief moment, these men are not enemies but fellow humans sharing a common tradition and the longing for peace. This secret Christmas serves as a powerful reminder that even in the darkest hours of war, moments of humanity and mutual understanding can shine through. As dawn breaks once again, each soldier returns to their respective trenches, carrying with them the memories of this extraordinary night. The echoes of Stille Nacht linger in the air, a fleeting promise of peace amidst the ongoing conflict. The Secret Christmas is more than just an exchange of gifts and carols. It is a testament to the enduring power of humanity in even the most dire circumstances. As the sun rises, the guns may once again roar, but the spirit of this secret Christmas lingers on, a quiet beacon of hope in the midst of war. As the sun sets, soldiers from both sides often find themselves in unexpected encounters during the nighttime hours of World War II. In the quiet town of Cassino, Italy, for instance, a group of American soldiers stumbled upon a team of German engineers working to protect the ancient Roman ruins. The Germans, with their expertise in preserving cultural heritage, were actively shoring up the damaged walls of the Abbey of Monte Cassino. Recognizing the significance of these historical sites, the American soldiers joined forces with the Germans to help secure and safeguard the ruins from further damage. This collaboration was not just about saving a building, it was about preserving a piece of human history that transcended the boundaries of war. Similarly, in Germany, a small unit of monuments, men tasked with protecting artifacts from looting and destruction, found themselves cornered by a platoon of Soviet troops. Instead of opening fire, the monument's men communicated their mission through a mix of broken languages and gestures. In an act of mutual understanding, the Soviet troops not only let the monument's men pass, but also offered to help guard the precious artifacts until reinforcements arrived. These moments of cooperation amidst conflict highlight how humanity can emerge even in the darkest times, fostering a sense of shared responsibility for cultural heritage. As dawn breaks and the guns fall silent once more, these quiet acts of preservation serve as a beacon of hope in the midst of war. The American soldier, part of the 101st Airborne Division, had fought tirelessly against the onslaught of German troops. The German soldier, a part of the Wehrmacht, was worn out by the constant battle and desperate for a moment of respite. Despite their roles as adversaries in this brutal war, both men were driven by the same basic human need for safety and shelter. As they huddled together in the makeshift sanctuary, they exchanged looks that conveyed a mutual understanding, an unspoken agreement to set aside hostilities for this fleeting moment of peace. In the cold and dark farmhouse, the sounds of war seemed distant. The two soldiers shared a quiet moment, perhaps remembering families back home or contemplating the absurdity of their situation. This abandoned farmhouse had become a hidden sanctuary, a temporary haven from the chaos outside. As dawn approached, the two soldiers prepared to leave their momentary refuge. They knew that the truce was over and they would have to resume their roles as enemies in this endless conflict. But for a brief time, in this hidden sanctuary, humanity had prevailed. The abandoned farmhouse stood as a silent witness to this unexpected encounter. As the sun rose and the guns began to roar again, the two soldiers left behind a story of temporary peace that transcended the boundaries of war. For these two soldiers and countless others like them, the hidden sanctuaries they found in abandoned buildings or shelters served as beacons of hope. They showed that even in the most desperate times, humanity can prevail and bring moments of peace.